My name is Alford, and I will be telling the story of the little snot-nosed boy, a tale from Japan. Long ago, there lived a woodcutter that was so poor that he only had a tiny wooden hut to live in. Each day, he would climb up the mountains to cut wood, and each evening, he would load the wood on his back, carry it down the mountain and into the village to sell. One evening, no one would buy his wood. He walked here and there looking for a buyer, but no one wanted wood there. So at last, he turned to climb the hill to his little hut. And as he crossed the bridge, he had a thought. I believe I will give this load of wood to the Dragon King as a gift. Then at least it will do some good. He lifted the wood from his back, held it over the water, and dropped it into the sea. He watched the heavy load disappear with a splash. Suddenly, he felt much better. He had given someone a gift. That always felt good. But then, the sea started to churn at just the spot where he had dropped his wood. He stared in amazement as a beautiful lady rose out of the sea, and she was holding a small boy in her arms. She said, "The Dragon King was pleased with your gift. The Dragon Queen sends you this as a present." She held out the little boy. The woodcutter was bewildered. "What do I do with this?" She said, "You must do only one thing. Feed him every day with his favorite food, shrimp sauce. Do this and he will bring you great luck." Then the beautiful lady vanished into the sea. He looked at the little boy in his arms. It was a fat little kid with such a runny nose. So he went back to his hut and he thought, how will I make room for this child? I only have a single zabuton cushion to sit on. So he walked inside and sat the boy down on the zabuton and thought, I don't even have money to buy rice for my own supper. Where will I get money to buy shrimp sauce for this kid? But then he remembered that the lady said that he would bring him luck. He kneeled politely and said, "Little snot-nosed boy, I will buy you shrimp sauce, but I have no money to do it. The lady said you would bring me luck. Do you think you could bring me some good luck right now?" Little snot-nosed boy stopped playing, looked up, shrugged, and he blew his nose 3 times. The woodcutter jumped back, and on the floor in front of him was a huge pile of golden coins. "Thank you, little snot-nosed boy! Thank you, little snot-nosed boy!" He filled his pockets with the money and ran to the market, where he bought fish and rice for himself and shrimp sauce for little snot-nosed boy. He ran home, prepared the shrimp sauce, and gave it to him. "Here, shrimp sauce." Little snot-nosed boy picked up the bowl. Then he sat down and sighed. That night, the woodcutter lay awake thinking, if this little snot-nosed kid can give me a pile of gold, I wonder what else he can give me. So the next day, he thought of another thing to ask the little snot-nosed boy. He bowed down and said, "Little snot-nosed boy, this house is so small. Can I have a new house? A bigger one?" Little snot-nosed boy looked up, shrugged, and he blew his nose hard 3 times. The woodcutter looked around and saw that he was standing in a beautiful mansion. "Thank you, little snot-nosed boy. Thank you, little snot-nosed boy." He spent the rest of his day looking over his fine new home. But in the evening, he had to run to the market and get the shrimp sauce. "Here, shrimp sauce." Little snot-nosed boy picked up the bowl. Then he sat down and sighed. The next day, he thought of another thing to ask the little snot-nosed boy. "Dear little snot-nosed boy, this house is so marvelous, but I really need some servants to help keep it clean. Some fine furniture would be useful." And the little snot-nosed boy looked up, shrugged, and the doors flew open and a row of servants marched in. The woodcutter looked around and saw beautiful furniture everywhere in his mansion. "Thank you, little snot-nosed boy! Thank you, little snot-nosed boy!" That night, he sent one of his servants to fetch the shrimp sauce for the little snot-nosed boy. But the little snot-nose refused to touch it. So he had to run to the market and get it himself. Here, shrimp sauce. Well, the Snot-nosed Boy picked up the bowl. Then he sat down inside. Throughout the week, the woodcutter wished for many things. Fine clothing, jewelry, a storehouse full of rich food, a stable of horses, even a beautiful wife. He no longer went to the mountains to cut wood. He stayed at home, waited on by servants, pampered by his beautiful wife. Now that he had everything he ever wanted, what did he need this snot-nosed little brat for? And beginning to get the shrimp sauce every day was beginning to become really annoying. So, one day, he picked him up, carried him outside, and sat him on the road. He pointed at the river and said, "You have done all the good you can do here. Go back to where you came from." Then he turned around and slammed the door behind him. Then the little Snot-nosed Boy began to snuffle. And he snuffled. And he snuffled. Then he blew his nose hard 3 times. In an instant, that door vanished. The house vanished. All the gold, jewels, servants vanished. The woodcutter was laying on the floor in his tiny wooden hut. His axe lay beside him. He ran outside and looked around, but the little Snot-nosed Boy was gone. Thank you.